Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this ribbon box. The lid just opens up, the ribbons are inside, and this will hold 6 Stampin' Up ribbons, and you just pull the ribbon that you want, cut the piece, and then it all stays nice and tidy. They sit on your desk like that, and you're probably thinking to yourself, you've got to be joking, box with 6 ribbons, nowhere near enough. Likewise, 6 wouldn't be enough for me, but I use 5 or 6 different ribbons more often than I use the rest of them, which means one of these boxes would be ideal for me just to keep those in and keep them on my desk. Alternatively, what you can do is, as long as you don't embellish these too much, you can have them side by side, so you could have a nice long line of them, and you could stack them so they look like that. So there are options. I'm going to be doing mine so that I've got my 6 most popular in here, and I'll keep them on my desk. So I'll get started. And the colour scheme I'm using today is Mint Macaroon. I've already got this piece of paper here, this piece of cardstock here already, because when I brought it over earlier, this is my second take, it just made the screen go all blurred. So I found that by leaving it there by itself, everything was okay. So let's try again. Card pieces that you're going to need is a piece of cardstock that measures 11 3/4 inches by 7 7/8 inches, which is 30 centimeters by 20 centimeters. Another piece of the Mint Macaroon cardstock, which measures 4 inches by 1 inch, which is 10.2 centimeters by 2.6 centimeters. And then you need 6 pieces of designer series paper. Now this is from the 2015-2016 designer series paper stack. I'm going to be using the flowery one here, and these measure 4 inches by 1 3/4 inches, which is 10.2 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters. So that's all the cardstock you're going to need. And I hope this isn't going to go blurred when I move this cardstock out of the way. Bear with me if it does. No, so far so good. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is the scoring. So I'll bring up my scoreboard and my scoring tool. Right, I'll give you the measurements first for the scoring in inches, and then I'll give them to you in centimetres. So inches, you're going to start at, on the landscape side, you're going to do 1 7/8 and 3 3/4, 5 5/8, 7 1/2, 9 3/8, and 11 1/4. And in centimetres, that is 4.8 centimetres, 9.6 centimetres, 14.4 centimetres, 19.2 centimetres, 24 centimetres, and 28.8 centimetres. And then you turn your cardstock so that it's portrait, and you score at 1 7/8 and at 6 inches, which in centimetres is 4.8 centimetres and 15.2 centimetres. Okay, so that's all the scoring we need to do on there, and we've got past that without the screen going blurry, so that's good. So what we're going to do first is we do our cutting, and what we need to do is these two little oblongs at the ends here, not the big squared on that end, but the narrow ones, we're going to cut those oblongs right off, and we are just doing straight lines. We are not doing anything like mitering, just nice straight lines. Now you could fold yours first if you like and then do the cutting. I just find it easier to cut first and then do the folding. Now I'm going to cut up these lines here on both sides up as far as that score line that's going across on the landscape. Okay, again nice straight lines just as far as the score line, the horizontal score line. And then the same on the other side. Okay, so that's that. Now we need to do the folding and scoring. And as you do this, make sure everything lines up really nicely. Just turn that over. And then these ones, making sure these are really nice and straight. And then on the other side as well. There we go. So the next we're going to do is, now fast fuse would work brilliantly with this, but because it's not easy to have fast fuse on like 3 or 4 of these pieces while you're folding it up, I'm recommending that you actually use the red tape. Fortunately I did stock up on it when I knew that Stampin' Up! We're going to stop selling it, but this box is going to take a bit of pressure because of opening and closing, and each time you pull on the ribbon, so I do think it needs something really, really strong. So what you need to do is, with your small flap on that side, ignore the first tab and then put a piece on the next 3. Oops, and that's just across the top. And then do the same on the opposite side. Oops. This really is such an easy box to make, as long as you just make sure that when you're folding the flaps in, that everything does just line up. Right, so we've got those there. Now on this one, the second to end one, and this one, you need to do an L shape with the tape. So the upright of the L has got to come down there. So that's top to bottom. And then you need a small piece to go along here, but only a little bit short of halfway across. You'll understand why when we get to that bit. And then equally on this one as well. Okay, so that's all the tape done. Right, now I want you to turn it over so the tape is facing downwards, but still keep your little flap on that end. Let's get rid of those two pieces. Now if you get your ruler, what I want you to do is make 2 pencil marks on this end flap and on this end flap that's ½ an inch in from this edge. Okay, so just a pencil mark. I should have brought my small ruler over. Never mind. Right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 2 little pencil marks there, and exactly the same on the other side. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's that. What do I need to do next? Next I'm going to put my designer series paper on, and if you choose a design like this one where it matters which way it goes, as long as you keep your little flap at the top and make sure it's facing up the right way here, then you're good to go. So I'm just going to put these pieces on. I'm going to use the flowery design because I've been trying to use the 4 different designs of our designer series paper stacks, and the flowery one is the only one I haven't used yet. Okay. You don't need to do 6 pieces here because you may decide not to do the one that sits on the tabletop. It's one of those things that sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And on this one I do. Oops. Let's do one at a time. This you could do using snail, fast fuse, tear and tape, whatever is your preferred adhesive. Okay, so if you want to miss one out, this is the one to miss out, which is next door but one to the one with our flap. As I say, I'm not going to miss it out. Right, now we're going to measure for where we need to position the holes for the ribbon to come through. So I'll pop that to one side for the moment. Okay, so what you need to do with this one, again, your ruler and a pencil. Now if you line this up straight on your grid paper, and then I'll bring it down a bit, you don't want to see the top of my head, and then as long as you make sure that you line up your ruler at the start of the cardstock and make sure it's straight. There we go. Okay, so I am going to mark this at 1/2 inch. I'll come back and give you the centimetres in a jiffy. 1 1/8, 1 3/4, 2 3/8, 3 inches, and 3 5/8. All the measurements will be on the screen and in the box below. So in centimetres, that is 1.3 centimetres, 2.9 centimetres, 4.5 centimetres, 6.1 centimetres, 7.7 centimetres, and 9.3 centimetres. Now, we don't actually do a punch that's the right size for punching holes in here. What we do is a 1/2 inch punch, which will punch holes that size, which is brilliant for getting the ribbon through, but you can see the little bit underneath there. Okay, now that doesn't really matter, because as the ribbons come over, it's going to be covered up. Okay, so if you've got our 1/2 inch hole punch, you can use that. If you have our retired 3/8 of an inch hole punch, that's absolutely brilliant. That's what I've used on that one. But as I say, it is retired. And the other suggestion I have, which is what I'm going to use, is my crocodile. And I am using the 3/16 of a hole, 3/16 of an inch. So entirely up to you what you have, and if you're fussy about the holes, with this 3/16 it's going to be like this one here. Okay, it still pulls through brilliantly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, with my 3/16, still one of those left in there. Come on. Alright, disappeared inside there. It'll come out. So I'm going to line this up, make sure that the 3/16, the gauge is right at the back here. And then I'm going to line up so that I can see my pencil mark through the hole there, and I'm punching that out. If anybody else has got a crocodile that won't let this paper go, and if you know an easy way, please let me know. Mine just seems to hang on to it. Right, there's the next one. See, just holds on. And then just do that to all of the pencil marks. I'm actually punching them out to get them out of here. The thing is, I need the paper out to be able to see where that pencil mark is. And then the last one. Okay, so that will work out the position of your holes so that your ribbons fit in nicely. So if you bring this back in again, we need to punch the holes in this one, okay, which is right on the very edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this on here to line up with the bottom of here, because I know that if I do that, the crocodile is going to fit in. And what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that this 4 inches is lining up with that 4 inches. One of these is a more generous 4 inches, I can see that. Never mind. This isn't going to be absolutely crucial if the holes are in a slightly different position. Right, I'm just going to draw a pencil mark in the centre of these holes that I've already punched out here. And then I'm going to use my crocodile again, and I'm going to punch those out. Oh, behaving itself now. Yep. Right, that's it. We don't need to punch any more holes now. So what we need to do, we're going to put our box together, and I don't normally recommend that you buy any non-Stampin' Up products, but for this job I do recommend this, and it is a removable tape runner. You can use snail, but you'd have to use the snail and then put your finger on it to take most of the sticky off. And I'm not sure how easy it'll be to get the rest of it off by the time we need this totally clear. But I'll show you how good this one is. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 layers of this, and I find that works brilliantly. Then if you turn it over and then close it up, give that a crease, so that will hold this all together. Now one end you close and then turn it over so you've got the other end like that. Now I'll just fold these out of the way. Now this bit's really important to get your box into the right shape. So this one here with the holes, we're not going to work with that one, and we are not going to work with the one with the L-shape tape on it either. So those two are out of the way. So what we need to do is we need to fold these two together, and then when we fold this over we've got to make sure it lines up with this one, and when we fold this one over we've got to make sure it lines up with this one. So to start off with the first two, with our pencil marks we're going to put our flap on this side to line up with those, and we're going to keep it in between our fingers like this, and that's going to make sure it lines up properly. And just allow the tape to stick very slightly. Don't press it right the way down, because if you've got it in the wrong position you're never going to be able to get it up again. Okay, so let's do the first one. I'm going to take the red backing off. And I'm going to line up my pencil marks. Make sure that I've got my fingers to make sure the two sides are together. And when I'm happy that that's straight, just very gently let that stick. Now I've got to make sure that if that was stuck solid, that I'll be able to get these two lined up, which I can, and also to make sure I can get these two lined up, which I can. Okay, so as long as they all get lined up like that, then you're good to stick this down properly. But we're not going to be sticking these two down at the moment because these are going to be our lid. We're just going to stick these two. What we do is take this backing off of one. This is why I say it would be very difficult to try and use fast fuse, because you'd have it sticking here, down here it would be all stuck together. Now this has got to go down, the one with the glue, sticky on it, but you've got to make sure it's lining up. Okay, so just make sure it's straight between your fingers. When you're happy, just allow that to go down so that it sticks beneath it. Okay, just give it a little grip as well. Do that to the other side. Bring this one down and make sure it lines up straight with this side. And when you're happy, let it go. Now we need to stick these two together, and if we take these two pieces off, as we lay these down we've got to check to make sure they're still lining up with the others. So let's take the backing off first. So first of all, put this one over and make sure it's lining up with this one here. Okay, so I'm happy that that is. When I bring this one over, I've got to make sure it lines up with this one. And if it does, and I'm happy to go. Okay, so I'm going to open the other end up, and I'm just going to go in with my foam folder and just make sure all of those pieces are stuck down nicely. Now I'm going to do the same here. The two pieces that I'm not going to be working with is the one with the L shape on it and the one with the holes. So these are the two that I'm going to do first. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm going to line them up with my pencil marks and just allow it to stick down a little bit. Then I'm going to make sure that these two will line up. Yes, and then I'm going to make sure these two will line up as well. So there we go, that's good. So I'm going to put those down, that's fine. And then I'm going to do this one first, which is opposite the clear one. Not that it matters at the moment, does it? Right, so I'm going to pop this down and make sure it lines up with this one. Again, if you put it between your fingers to make sure that it's nice and straight, and then just give it a little bit of a push so it goes down. And then this one, and then the same again. Push this one over, bring this, make sure it all lines up. There we go. Now if we take these pieces off, so I'm going to lay this one down, make sure it's lining up with this line here, which it is beautifully, and then I'm going to bring this one over and make sure it lines up with this line. Get my hand out of the way there. Yep. So there we go, that one's done. Now we've got to open the box up, and if you just use your paper piercer and slide it under there, because with 3 layers on there it is stuck pretty well. It will make a bit of a mess on your paper piercer, but it comes off quite easily. Now just fold that back out of the way, and then very carefully, if you just run your thumb along there, it will make all of this just roll up, okay? And it comes off beautifully. Okay, just put that in my bin. And do just check to make sure that there isn't any that's come off on here, which quite often does happen. Okay, so that goes down, and there we go. There's our ribbon box. In fact, it looks as if you can see part of my bit at the back. I haven't done my holes quite high enough, but that's okay. As I said with the other one, it's not going to show once the ribbons are in there. Right, what I'm going to do next is, not that one, but this one. I've actually put magnet to keep it closed. There's a little magnet at the back of here as well, like that. So if you can hear it snap shut, I think. Nope. But you can see that it's snapping. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do that on this one. And you have seen me use these before. I wondered what happened to that. Right, so we need a plus and a minus. So if we use that one first, I don't know why that was off by itself. But there is some, it's obviously been used for something because it's got some red on the back of it. So I'm just putting a little bit of Tombow on that. And just guessing where halfway is along here. Okay, it's probably easier if I bend it over. There we go. So that's going to be that one. So that was the minus. This is going to be the plus. Let's take the backing off of that. Now I need to put it on here. Oh, let's put some Tombow on that first. Just a little bit. And then it should grab. That's it. Now on my magnets, I do have a 3/8 of an inch punch, which will cover that up. Did I bring it over with me? But as I say, it is a retired punch. So that's those. Let's just put that on there. It's not really necessary to do this, but I have the punch, so I might as well use it. And then I'll do one on the back there as well. And again, you can't really see this, so it's just being a little bit fussy, I suppose. Right, the last thing that I do is I just like to put a little bit of something on the side here to cover that up. Okay, so what I use is I have one of our 2-inch punches, and I punch out 2 circles, and I also have one of these, which I can't think for the life of me what it is called. It may be medallion punch, but as I say, I will put the name on the screen. And I'm going to punch 2 of these and then I'm going to adhere them to the circles. I'm not going to take my glue too far out. Pop that on there. The circle is too big for my flower, but that's okay. This is only to tidy up the ends a bit. And then I want to pop them on here, but obviously I've got to be very careful where I put the glue. Okay, so that's that one. And that one there. Yep, that's fine. So, just to make sure I have actually done this correctly, let's take a couple of these ribbons. I'm not going to take the whole lot out, but let's take these. Just make sure you open this bit back before you try putting your ribbons in. Let's do this up a bit, it's a bit long like that. Let's use the two first holes here. Okay, put that one through there. Oops, come on. Obviously it's not brilliant to do this with only two in there. It's bound to fall over. But you get the idea. You can see that I have actually made this correctly. Right, come on. There we go. And pop that bit back down again. And then we have our ribbon. Can't remember which way that was. Well, it's meant to be like that. It's because it's trying to fall over in there. Okay, so there we go. That's today's project. I hope you like it, and I hope you try and you give it a go, give it a try. As I say, they will all fit side by side, and they will fit on top of each other. Okay, so you could finish up with lots of them across the across your desk. It's a really, really nice project, this. I really do like this. Anyway, many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the box below or send me an email to janb@janbcards.com. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, apart from the magnets, there'll be a link in the box below for my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. And if you've enjoyed my video and you would like to see more from me, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll be notified every time I upload another video, which is normally on Wednesdays and Sundays. And finally, I'll be putting the products that I've used and the measurements on the screen. I'll also put them in the box below, because I do appreciate that not all devices show what's printed on the screen. So it'll all be nice and handy down below for you. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.